Captain Du Young Park rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the strange ship floating in space before him. Through the wide windows of his salvage vessel Persistence, the ancient alien craft looked like a sleeping giant. Its silver hull sparkled under the distant starlight, making it seem almost magical. "Captain, you need to see this," called Jai-Yun Lee, his chief engineer. She stood at her workstation, her fingers moving quickly across the glowing screens. Her long black hair was tied back in a simple ponytail, and her Earth Federation uniform showed signs of a long work shift. Do Young walked over to her station, his boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. The bridge was quiet except for the gentle hum of computers and the soft beeping of sensors. Through the windows, colorful gases from the Carina Nebula painted the space around them in beautiful purples and blues. "What did you find?" he asked, leaning over her shoulder to look at the screen. "The ship's power readings are strange," Jai-Yun said. She pointed to a graph that showed wavy lines. "It's running, but barely, like a car trying to drive with almost no fuel. But here's the weird part. The ship's design is incredibly advanced. It should be powerful, but instead, it's just weak." Do Young crossed his arms and thought for a moment. His crew had been searching for valuable space salvage for 3 months. They had found plenty of broken satellites and old space junk, but nothing like this. This ship was different. It was complete, not broken, just sleeping. "Todd 1. Du Young called to his young navigation officer. "Any signs of danger? Traps? Hidden weapons?" Tai-1 Kim shook his head. His fingers danced across his own screens as he double-checked the readings. "No, Captain. The ship appears completely safe, but I did find something interesting. It's giving off a very weak distress signal. It's so old that our computers almost missed it." Do Young made his decision. "Okay, let's check it out. Jai-Yun, get your engineering team ready. Tai-1, bring us alongside nice and slow. Everyone else, standard salvage positions." The crew moved with practiced ease. They had done this many times before, but usually with broken ships or space debris. This was their first intact alien vessel, and everyone felt excited. The Persistence glided smoothly through space until it was next to the mysterious ship. Up close, they could see that the alien vessel was beautiful. Its hull was made of overlapping plates that looked like fish scales, and strange symbols were carved into its side. Despite being ancient, it looked like it had been built yesterday. Jai-Yun led her engineering team through the connecting tunnel between the ships. They wore their space suits just in case, even though their sensors said the air inside the alien ship was safe to breathe. Du Young followed behind them, his heart beating faster with each step. Inside, the alien ship was even more amazing. The corridors were wide and curved, with soft light coming from the walls themselves. The air was clean and fresh, which seemed impossible for a ship this old. Their footsteps echoed as they walked, and their helmet lights showed that everything was covered in a thin layer of dust. "Captain," Jai-Yun called out, her voice filled with wonder. "Look at this." They had reached what seemed to be the bridge of the alien ship. It was a large, circular room with windows that gave a perfect view of space. But what caught their attention was the strange crystal in the center of the room. It was as tall as a person and glowed with a faint blue light. As they approached the crystal, something unexpected happened. The room suddenly lit up, and a gentle voice spoke in perfect Earth Standard language. "Welcome. I am ARIA, the Advanced Reconnaissance Intelligence Assistant of this vessel. It has been 847 years, 3 months, and 14 days since my last activation." The crew jumped in surprise. A hologram appeared near the crystal, the image of a being made of light that looked almost human, but not quite. It smiled at them in a friendly way. "You speak our language?" Du Young asked, amazed. "I learn languages by analyzing communication patterns," Ariad explained. "I have been listening to your ship's transmissions since you approached. My creators, the Luminary, gave me this ability. The Luminary? Jai-Yun asked. She had moved closer to the crystal, studying it with her engineering tools. We've never heard of them. They are, a highly advanced species, Araya said. They built me and this ship as an experiment, but they considered it a failure. A failure. Du-Young looked around at the beautiful ship. Why? This vessel was designed to use crystal core technology, Araya explained. But its power output was too low compared to standard luminary ships. They expected it to be at least 10 times more powerful. When it didn't meet their expectations, they abandoned the project. They left me here to watch over the ship until it could be recycled, but they never returned. Jai-Yun shook her head. But this technology is amazing. The crystal core is unlike anything we've ever seen. Sure, the power output is low, but the efficiency is incredible. It's been running for over 800 years on almost no fuel. As Jai-Yun spoke, Du-Young noticed something interesting. The crystal seemed to pulse slightly brighter when she got closer to it. He stepped closer too, and the light grew even stronger. Arai, he said slowly, does the crystal react to our presence? The hologram tilted its head, looking curious. Yes. How strange. I've never seen it respond like this before. The crystal core is showing a 3% increase in power output since you entered the room. This is unexpected. Jai-Yun's eyes lit up with excitement. Captain, with your permission, I'd like to study this technology. Even if the Luminary thought it was weak, it might be perfect for human use. And there's clearly something about our presence that affects it. Du-Young looked around the bridge again. Despite being abandoned, the ship felt alive somehow. And now it was responding to them in ways its own creators hadn't seen. His salvage crew had found many interesting things in space, but this could be the discovery of a lifetime. Aria, he said, would you object to us studying your ship? We promised to treat it, and you with respect. The hologram smiled. I would welcome the company, Captain Park. It has been a very long time since anyone has shown interest in this vessel. Perhaps you will see potential where my creators saw only failure. And so began the story of how humanity found one of its greatest discoveries, a ship that everyone else had given up on. But none of them knew yet just how special this connection between humans and the crystal core would turn out to be. As the Earth Federation salvage crew set up their equipment and began their study of the ship, the crystal's glow continued to strengthen. In the darkness of space, surrounded by the beautiful colors of the Carina Nebula, a new chapter in human history was starting. Sometimes the greatest treasures are the ones that others throw away. The crew worked through their standard shift, setting up research stations and connecting their computers to the alien ship systems. Jai-Yun was especially excited about studying the crystal core. She had never seen technology like this before. Look at these readings, she told Du-Young, pointing to her tablet. The power output is still low compared to our modern ships, but the efficiency is amazing. It's like it's barely trying, but it keeps going and going. Du-Young watched his crew work. They had found something special here. He could feel it. But he also knew they needed to be careful. Todwan, he called to his navigation officer. Send a message to Earth Federation Command. Tell them we found an intact alien vessel with active AI and unusual technology. Request instructions and additional research support. As Todwan sent the message, Du-Young turned back to Araya. Can you tell us more about your creators? Why didn't they try harder to understand this technology before abandoning it? Araya's hologram flickered slightly. The Luminary are very efficient. They believe that if something doesn't work perfectly right away, it's better to try a different approach. They built me to run tests on the crystal core technology, but when it didn't produce the power levels they wanted, they simply moved on to other projects. That seems wasteful, Jai-Yun said, not looking up from her work. Sometimes the best discoveries come from understanding why something doesn't work as expected. Perhaps, Araya said, that is why you humans are different. You seem very interested in understanding things, not just using them. As they talked, none of them noticed that the crystal's glow had grown slightly stronger. With each passing hour, as more human crew members came aboard to help with the research, the light grew just a little bit brighter. The ship that had been considered too weak to be useful was slowly waking up, responding to something that its creators had never thought to test: the presence of human beings. The first day of discovery was coming to an end, but this was just the beginning. Soon, they would learn that what the luminary saw as a failure might turn out to be one of their greatest achievements, once humans showed them what their creation could really do. 3 days had passed since the discovery of the alien ship. Jai-Yun Lee hadn't slept much during this time. She sat in front of the crystal core, surrounded by computers and testing equipment. Her assistant, Tai-Won Kim, brought her another cup of coffee. "You should rest," he said, placing the cup next to her. Jai-Yun shook her head. "I'm close to understanding something important. Look at these readings." She pointed to her screen, where waves of light moved up and down. "The crystal responds every time someone walks past it. At first, I thought it was random, but it's not." Tai-Won sat down next to her, looking interested. "What do you mean?" "Watch this," Jai-Yun said. She stood up and walked away from the crystal. The blue light dimmed slightly. Then she walked back, and the light grew brighter. "Now you try it." Tai-Won walked around the crystal. The same thing happened. The light followed his movements. "That's strange," he said. "But what does it mean?" "I think," Jai-Yun said slowly, "that the luminary never fully understood what they built. They thought this was just a power source, but it's more than that. It's like a musical instrument that needs players." Captain Du Young Park walked onto the bridge at that moment. He had dark circles under his eyes too. Everyone had been working hard to understand the ship's secrets. "Tell me what you found," he said. Jai-Yun stood up excitedly. "Captain, I think I know why this ship seemed weak to the luminary. They were testing it wrong. The crystal core isn't meant to generate power by itself. It's an amplifier." "An amplifier?" Du Young asked. "What does it amplify?" "Us," Jai-Yun said. "Humans. Every living thing gives off a tiny electrical field. The crystal responds to these fields and grows stronger. The luminary probably didn't notice because their bodies work differently than ours." Araya's hologram appeared next to them. "This matches my records," the AI said. During testing, the luminary scientists noted unusual energy spikes, but they couldn't find the cause. They never tested the ship with humans present. Jai-Yun turned to her captain. "I have an idea, but it's a bit crazy. I want to test what happens if we connect more humans to the ship's systems, not just walking around it, but really connecting, using the ship's neural interface chairs." Do Young looked concerned. "Those chairs were made for luminary crew members. Is it safe for humans?" "ARIA, and I have been studying them," Jai-Yun said. "They're completely safe. They read brain patterns and body energy without causing any harm. The luminary used them to control ship systems directly with their minds. And you think humans could do the same?" "I think we might do even better," Jai-Yun said. "Our bioelectric fields are different. They create patterns that the crystal seems to like. If I'm right, we could wake up powers in this ship that the luminary never imagined." Du Young thought for a long time. He trusted Jai-Yun. She was the best engineer he had ever worked with. But this was a big risk. How many people would you need? To start, maybe 5 or 6, just to prove the theory. The captain nodded slowly. "Okay, but we do this carefully. I want constant medical monitoring, and ARIA needs to watch for any problems with the ship's systems." They gathered volunteers from the crew. Besides Jai-Yun and Tai-Won, 3 other crew members agreed to help. Security Officer Myra Song, Medical Officer Sun Ho Kang, and Communications Officer Jin Ah Cho. The neural interface chairs were arranged in a circle around the crystal core. They looked like normal chairs, except for the soft pads that would touch the back of the user's head and hands. The volunteers sat down, looking nervous but excited. "Everyone ready?" Jia-Yun asked. They all nodded. "Araya, start the connection sequence." The chairs hummed softly. Jia-Yun felt a gentle tingling as the neural interface activated. She could suddenly feel the ship around her, like it was an extension of her own body. The others gasped as they felt it too. The crystal core blazed with bright blue light. Power readings on all the screens jumped higher than ever before. Araya's voice sounded surprised. "Power output has increased by 400%. Neural connection is stable. The crystal matrix is responding to human brain patterns in ways I've never seen before." Through the neural link, Jia-Yun could feel the ship's systems waking up. It was like watching a sleeping giant open its eyes. Doors that had been stuck for centuries started working again. Dead screens came back to life. The ship's engines hummed with new energy. "This is amazing," Taiwan said. His voice sounded distant, like he was talking in a dream. "I can feel the ship's navigation systems. It's like I could fly it with just a thought." "The weapon systems are online," Myre reported. "They're more advanced than anything we have, but they were just waiting for the right kind of energy to power them." Jinnah's eyes were wide with wonder. "The communication systems, they're not just for talking to other ships. This vessel can understand and translate any language instantly. It can even read thoughts and emotions." Sun Ho monitored their health readings carefully. "Everyone's vital signs are normal. Our brains are working perfectly with the ship's systems. It's like the ship was made for us, even though the luminary didn't know it." Do Young watched all this with growing excitement. The ship that had been considered too weak to be useful was now showing power readings that went beyond anything they had expected. And this was with just 5 humans connected to it. "Jia-Yun," he said, "what would happen if we connected more people?" She smiled, still linked to the ship's systems. "I don't know, Captain, but I think we're about to change everything we know about space travel. The luminary built something amazing. They just didn't have the right crew to make it work." As if to prove her point, the crystal core pulsed with energy. The light spread through the ship's corridors like flowing water. Systems that had been silent for centuries sang with new life. The ship wasn't weak anymore. It just needed the human touch to show its true strength. Araya's hologram watched all this with growing interest. "I am recording power levels that exceed the original design specifications by 500%. The crystal core is not just accepting human neural patterns, it's learning from them, growing stronger with each passing minute." The 5 volunteers stayed connected for an hour, exploring what they could do with the ship's systems. When they finally disconnected, they were tired but happy. The ship stayed awake, its power levels higher than they had been in centuries. "Tomorrow," Jia-Yun said, "we should try with more people. I think this ship has more surprises for us." Do Young nodded. "I'll send a new report to Earth Federation Command. They need to know what we found here. This isn't just a salvage mission anymore. This could be the beginning of a whole new kind of space travel." As the crew prepared to rest for the night, the crystal core continued to glow brightly. The ship that had been abandoned as a failure was proving that sometimes the greatest power comes from unexpected places. The luminary had built better than they knew. They just needed humans to show them how special their creation really was. The next day would bring new tests, new discoveries, and new challenges. But for now, in the quiet of space, a group of humans had awakened something wonderful. They had shown that weakness was only a matter of perspective, and that true strength could come from the most unexpected partnerships between human and machine. The warning alarms on the Persistence woke everyone up early in the morning. Captain Du Young Park ran to the bridge, still pulling on his uniform jacket. Red lights flashed everywhere, and the ship's computer was reporting danger. 3 ships just appeared from behind the nebula cloud. Ta-1 reported from his station. "They're not responding to our messages, and their weapons are powered up. Through the bridge windows, Du Yum could see 3 black ships approaching. They were built for speed and combat, with sharp angles and large gun ports, the kind of ships that pirates used. Captain Aria's hologram appeared beside him. I recognize those ship designs. They belong to the Steel Claw Pirates, led by Captain He-Jun Choi. They are known for attacking research and salvage vessels in this sector. Do Young's mind raced. The Persistence was a salvage ship, not a warship. They had some weapons, but nothing that could fight off 3 pirate vessels. How long until they reach us? 10 minutes, Taiwan said. They're jamming our communications. We can't call for help. Jai-yun spoke up from her engineering station. Captain, we should move everyone to the alien ship. The neural interfaces. If we connect more people, we might be able to. A blast of energy hit the Persistence, making the whole ship shake. The pirates were firing warning shots. Do it, Du Yum ordered. Everyone, grab what you can and move to the alien ship. Now. The crew ran through the connecting tunnel between the ships, carrying important equipment and supplies. As they moved, more shots rocked the Persistence. The pirates were getting closer. Inside the alien ship, Jai-yun and her team worked quickly to prepare the neural interface chairs. This time, they weren't just connecting 5 or 6 people. They needed everyone. Is it safe to connect this many people at once? Du Young asked Aria. Unknown, the AI replied honestly. But the crystal core's power grows stronger with each human connection. 20 minds working together might unlock capabilities even my creators never imagined. Another blast hit the Persistence, harder this time. Through the windows, they could see one of the pirate ships moving into position to board their vessel. We don't have a choice, Jai-yun said. Everyone, take a seat and prepare for neural connection. The 20 crew members sat in chairs arranged around the crystal core. The medical team attached monitoring devices to watch their vital signs. Jai-yun looked at her captain, waiting for his order. Do Young took a deep breath. Aria, start the connection sequence. Everyone, stay calm and work together. The neural interfaces activated, and 20 human minds joined with the ship's systems at once. The crystal core blazed with blue-white light so bright it was hard to look at. Power surged through every part of the vessel. Through the neural link, each crew member found their natural place in controlling the ship. Taiwan's mind merged with navigation, feeling the engines and movement controls as if they were his own body. Mirai connected to weapons and defense systems, understanding them instantly. Jin-A's consciousness expanded through communication and sensor arrays, feeling the space around them in all directions. This is amazing, Du Young said through the link. He could feel everyone's thoughts working together, making the ship stronger. Aria, what are our power levels now? Power output is beyond measurement, Aria reported, sounding astonished. The crystal core is operating at levels I never knew were possible. All systems are fully operational and showing capabilities I've never seen before. A harsh voice came through their communication systems. This is Captain He-Jun Choi of the Steel Claws. Surrender your vessels and prepare to be boarded. Resist, and we will destroy you. The pirate ships surrounded them, weapons charged and ready to fire. They were experienced raiders who had won many battles, but they had never faced anything like this before. Through their combined neural link, the crew felt the ship's true power awakening. The crystal core pulsed with their shared energy, and incredible things began to happen. When the pirates fired their weapons, a shield of pure energy appeared around the alien ship, but it didn't just block the attacks. It grew stronger with each hit, absorbing the energy and adding it to their power. Impossible, they heard He-Jun shout. That ship is ancient. It's supposed to be powerless. Mirai smiled as she accessed the weapon systems. They weren't designed to destroy. They were smarter than that. Through the neural link, she fired precise shots that disabled the pirates' engines and weapons without harming their crews. The ship could move in ways that seemed to break the laws of physics when one pirate vessel tried to ram them. Taiwan thought about moving away, and the ship simply shifted, not jumping through space, but sliding between moments, appearing somewhere else as naturally as taking a step. "Captain," Jinna reported through the link, "I'm reading their communications. They're panicking. They've never seen technology like this. Some of their crew want to surrender." Do Young could hardly believe what their combined human minds had achieved. The ship that the Luminary had abandoned as too weak was now easily holding off 3 warships. Every system worked perfectly, guided by human thoughts and emotions that the crystal core transformed into pure power. "Hajum Choi," Du Young transmitted, his thoughts carried clearly through Jinna's communication systems. "Your weapons can't harm us, and we've disabled your ships. Surrender now, and we'll ensure you're treated fairly under Earth Federation law." They watched through the ship's sensors as the pirate crews argued among themselves. Some wanted to keep fighting, but they had no weapons left. Others were still trying to understand how an ancient alien vessel had defeated their modern warships so easily. Finally, He Jun's voice came back, sounding frustrated and confused. We surrender. But I don't understand. That ship was dead when we detected it. How did you make it so powerful?" Through the neural link, Du Young felt his crew's shared sense of triumph and wonder. "The ship wasn't dead," he replied. "It was just waiting for the right crew to wake it up." Aria's hologram watched all this with what looked like pride. The Luminary searched for ultimate power in huge engines and advanced weapons. They never considered that true strength might come from joining their technology with the natural abilities of another species. The crystal core's light had changed. Instead of its original pale blue, it now shone with all the colors of the rainbow, pulsing in time with the crew's heartbeats. The ship had been transformed by the power of human minds working together, becoming something entirely new. As Earth Federation patrol ships finally arrived to take the pirates into custody, Du Young looked at his crew through the neural link. They were tired but happy. Together, they had discovered something revolutionary, a way of working with alien technology that no one had ever imagined before. "Jai Yun," he said to his chief engineer, "I think we're going to need to write a very interesting report for Federation Command." She laughed, the sound carrying clearly through their shared connection. "I don't think anyone will call this ship weak ever again." The crew stayed linked to the ship's systems, marveling at what they had accomplished. In just a few days, they had taken an abandoned piece of alien technology and shown that the power of the human mind could transform it into something extraordinary. It was just the beginning of a new chapter in human space exploration. Soon, everyone would know about the ship that was considered too weak to be useful, until humans showed the galaxy what it could really do. News travels fast in space. Within a week of the battle with the pirates, ships from all over the galaxy came to see the miracle vessel. The story spread everywhere. How a salvage crew had found an abandoned alien ship and made it more powerful than anyone thought possible. The Luminary were the most surprised of all. When they heard that their failed experiment had defeated 3 warships at once, they sent their best scientist, Ambassador Young Mi-shin, to investigate. Young Mi's ship arrived early in the morning. It was beautiful, like all Luminary vessels, sleek and white, powered by their most advanced engines. But when she saw the readings from the crystal core ship, even she couldn't hide her amazement. "This is impossible," she said, standing on the bridge with Captain Du Young and Jai Yun. "Our greatest scientists studied this technology for years. They proved it wasn't strong enough to be useful." Jai Yun smiled. "Would you like to see how it works now?" The crew connected to the neural interfaces, letting Young Mi watch. As each human mind joined with the ship's systems, the crystal core glowed brighter. The power readings on Young Mi's instruments went higher and higher. "Incredible," she whispered. "The crystal matrix isn't just accepting your neural patterns, it's learning from them, growing stronger. Each human adds something unique to the field." Through the neural link, Du Young could feel his crew working together perfectly. "Your people built something amazing," he told Young Mei. "You just didn't know what it could really do." Young Mei walked around the crystal core, studying it carefully. "We always thought power had to come from the technology itself. We never considered that it might need partners." She turned to Araya's hologram. "Did you know this was possible?" "I suspected there was more to discover," Araya said. "But I needed the humans to prove it. They approach problems differently than the luminary. Where you see failure, they see possibility." The next few days were busy with tests and experiments. Young Mei worked with Jai Yun and the engineering team to understand exactly how human neural patterns affected the crystal core. What they discovered changed everything they knew about space travel. "Look at this," Jai Yun explained to everyone gathered on the bridge. "The crystal doesn't just use our bioelectric fields for power. It learns from how our minds work. When we're calm, it's more efficient. When we're focused, it's more precise. When we're protecting ourselves, it's stronger." Young Mei nodded. "And because humans are all different, each person adds something new to the pattern. It's not just about power, it's about working together." The Earth Federation and the Luminary Council held many meetings about what to do next. Finally, they made a historic decision. They would work together to build a new kind of spaceship, combining luminary crystal technology with human neural interfaces. "We'll call them the Synergy-class vessels," Young Mei announced, "because they represent the best of both our species working together." Do Young's crew was given a special honor. Their ship, which had started everything, would be the first official Synergy-class vessel. They were asked to give it a new name. "What should we call it?" Do Young asked his crew through their neural link. They were all connected to the ship, feeling its power flowing through them. "How about Phoenix?" Todd One suggested. "Because it rose from being abandoned to become something new." "Or Unity," said Myray, "since it brings humans and luminary technology together." But it was Jinnah who had the perfect idea. "Let's call it Synergy," she said. "The first of its class, showing what's possible when different species work together." Everyone agreed. The ship that had been considered too weak to be useful became the Synergy, the first of a whole new type of vessel that would change space travel forever. Araya seemed happier than ever. "My creators built me to watch over a failed experiment," the AI said. "Instead, I got to be part of something revolutionary. The crystal core wasn't weak. It was just waiting for the right moment and the right people." The Luminary sent their best engineers to learn from the human crew. Young Mei organized classes where humans taught luminary scientists about different ways of thinking about technology. The humans, in turn, learned amazing things about crystal engineering and advanced space science. One day, as they prepared for their first official mission as a Synergy-class vessel, Du Young found Jai Yun in her usual spot by the crystal core. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. She smiled, watching the rainbow colors dance in the crystal. "I was just thinking about how many amazing things we might have missed in space because we thought they were failures. Maybe there are other discoveries out there, just waiting for someone to look at them differently." Do Young nodded. "That's why we're going to explore together now. Humans and luminary. Two different ways of thinking, making each other stronger." Through their neural link, the whole crew felt the truth of those words. The ship hummed with power around them, but it wasn't just physical power anymore. It was the strength that comes from understanding, from working together, from seeing the value in things that others might overlook. As the Synergy prepared for its first mission, other ships were already being built using the same technology. Each one would have a mixed crew of humans and luminary, learning from each other and discovering new possibilities. Araya's hologram watched her crew with pride. "You know," the AI said, "the luminary spent years trying to make this ship as powerful as their other vessels. But you humans made it into something better. You made it unique." The crystal core pulsed with energy, stronger than ever, but perfectly controlled. Through the neural interface, every crew member could feel how the ship had changed. It wasn't just a piece of technology anymore. It was a bridge between species, a symbol of what could happen when different kinds of people worked together. "Ready for our first official mission, Captain?" Ta Wan asked from his station. Do Young looked around at his crew, human and AI working together, making something that had never existed before. "Ready," he said. "Let's show the galaxy what partnership really means." The Synergy moved smoothly away from the space station, its crystal core glowing with all the colors of the rainbow. As they headed into deep space, they carried with them a powerful message. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from working together, and what seems like weakness to some might just be potential waiting to be discovered. Other ships would follow, each one learning and growing stronger. But everyone would remember the story of the first one, the ship that was supposed to be weak, until humans showed the galaxy what it could really do.